Everyone, welcome to my channel, Love Storyteller Tarot. My name is Jeanette and this is the new moon reading in Pisces, the archetype of Pisces, the 17th of March 2018. Right, I did do both eclipses, the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse videos ready to post and everything. But when my sister went to do it, the lunar eclipse, it said that there was something corrupt or something damaged on the video. So we couldn't, we just couldn't do it. And unfortunately, the solar one was compatible with the lunar one. Because when you think about it, it's the yin and the yang, it's the female and masculine. And they did complement each other, so there was just no point in posting the solar eclipse out. So that's twice I've missed the eclipses for some reason. Spirit puts a block on it. Anyway, I just go with it. I never know what it's about. So, and then again, I've missed a couple, but anyway. Let's focus on the here and now. I'm back. A big welcome to my new subscribers. How it works is I post the new moon on the full moon and the full moon on the new moon. So you have like 2 weeks of the energies that you're going to be working with, because it's all about taking responsibility and working with these energies. It's just not going to happen. You've got to put the effort in. You've got to bring Saturn into the mix, and Saturn's all about, which is in Capricorn for 2.5 years, it's about taking responsibility concerning your love lives, taking the power back into your hands, and dealing with whatever it is that you need to be dealing with. We do have a Mercury retrograde, so that's coming in on the 22nd of this month, March, because I'm doing this on the full moon, which is in Virgo, and that's all about, it's like Virgo archetype is all about being of service, but the shadow side is like being of servitude, the feeling of having to, or a martyr type, and sacrifice in that sense, and it's not, it's that pure energy. And Virgo is all about analyzing. So maybe because this will be posted out hopefully today or early hours of tomorrow, around this full moon to this now new moon, that 2-week period, you would need to be, maybe for some of you, especially the Virgos, the energy, or the rising sign Virgos, which I am, be careful where you're analysing too much with relationships, and you actually can be putting a block on that, because you need to be going with the flow a bit. And if you analyse, if you come from the mind too much, you're cutting off from your gut, your solar plexus, your gut instincts, and your heart, and then you'll be causing a block for yourself because you're analysing too much. For some of you, you might not be analysing enough. You may need to bring that energy in, because there's 2 ways of working with the energy, and you'll know which way it is for you. And the readings can be, because it's for so many people, some of the cards might be representing the past for some people. And I've noticed I put this cloth on the wrong way. Oh, see, bit of my Virgo perfectionist has come in. That's bugging me now, but never mind, let's go with it. Yeah, very much perfectionist Virgos. So some of the cards might be representing the past, and it's already happened to you. But for some people, those energies might be coming in, So it will be different, or it could be that something's already happening, or it's to come in the future. So it'll be different for everybody. You know, you at the end of the day, like I've always said, you're the only one that knows everything that goes on in your life, everything that goes on in your life. And as much as you think you'd like to, you know, we do embellish stories. Sometimes we don't tell the whole truth because it's being filtered through our own filters of our own childhood. So, and it's your perception on it. So this Mercury retrograde that's going to be coming up on the 22nd, it's in Aries, and I think, I'm not an astrologer, but I think the Aries is under Mars, the ruler of Mars, and you know, that leads to the Tower card, which is about conflict. But conflict is healthy. Obviously abuse isn't, but conflict is, which is, you know, challenging people on their patterns, their behaviours. And this Aries Mercury retrograde, which now will be in the, because it's like 2 week setup phase beforehand, so things can already be happening and developing. You know, it's the stereotype of people maybe coming back into your life, friendships, family, loved ones, romantic partners, because with this new moon in Pisces, we've got Chiron, which is a part of the mixture. And that's all about, Chiron's all about the wounded healer. So it's about wounds. So around this new moon, there's, you know, the wounds are going to be, maybe if you've met somebody new, your wounds might be surfacing. And maybe you need to go into the Virgo analytical of not sharing that with that new person, and actually withdrawing and going into it and analysing it yourself. You know, you don't need to share it with that person, especially when it's somebody you've just met, you know, because that can scare people. So yeah, so this Mercury retrograde, and then you've got, and then it runs through to the 15th of April, but you've got the 2 weeks after that. So we've had 2-3 months, I think, of planets that have been literally no retrogrades. It's all been in alignment. So if you've been planting your seeds, whatever you've been planting over the last 2 or 3 months, you know, you should be seeing harvest time, things coming together. And we're coming into here, and anyway in the UK we're coming into springtime, so you start to see the seeds and the plants coming up that were planted, you know, where it's winter and it's all under the earth and you can't see it, and you might get a bit impatient. That Mars energy, that fiery energy, that Aries energy, which is all about I am, you know, and in your relationships and frustration, and you know, it might be like that pot bubbling and it hasn't got the steamer on it, and you know, at some time it's going to explode. So but those are the energies that, and it's going to be like, I think the energy is going to be like between, like, because the Mars energy, and it's sexual energy. Mars energy is sexual, so love and lust. You know, we've discussed this before, where you have chemistry with somebody. It doesn't mean to say that it's that chemistry where it's longevity, etc. You know, that Mars energy, that sexual energy, especially the Knight of Wands, that can be like a one-night stand, etc. But it's there to help you to discern where you are, who you want to be, and you know, are you going to go down that path? So this Mercury retrograde maybe is about the, you know, that sexual energy of love and lust, and then you've got the new moon with Chiron in Pisces, where you can be discerning a new beginning for yourself, because the new moon is all about new beginnings, and maybe working through some of that Virgo energy, which is all about, you know, the moon is all about emotions. That hence why it affects the tides, you know. Pisces is the ocean. It's not the sea. It governs the ocean. You can't get any bigger than the ocean. So that's how big the Pisces energy is, and hence why it comes under compassion, because you're going to be needing compassion for yourself, because Chiron's going to be in the mix, which is about your old wounds. Whether it's compassion for yourself or compassion for somebody else, you never know who you're meeting, or if you're already in a long-term relationship stroke marriage, maybe one you or the other person might be going through some of those issues. So then you would need to bring compassion into the mix and set your healthy boundaries, but you know, have compassion for where they're at. And for some, it doesn't mean to say you enter that relationship. I've noticed the end of last year and going into this year, the readings, personal readings, and situations that I've noticed in the media, and people are, you need to be more the observer. You need to be bringing in your mystical or the high priestess energy of intuition, because she comes under the moon as well. You know, you need to be coming more from your gut instincts, like I was saying earlier, not so much the mind. You've got to feel things. You take it to the mind after you've felt them. You don't analyze them when somebody's hurt you or you've hurt somebody else. You need to go into the grieving and the emotions of it, and then you find clarity via the mind. Yeah, it's going to be all about compassion's. Pisces is very psychic energy. You know, it is the ocean of love, compassion, which means love of all, not just your romantic sense. But with Pisces, it has an affinity with the moon, and you know, the moon, it's very intuitive, and you do have the middle path here. So where your love lives are concerned, it feels like Spirit saying you need to find the middle ground. That you cannot be this side and you cannot be that side. You've got to find the middle ground, and they're telling me to find a solution, but they're not saying solution to me. They're saying solution, S-O-U-L, solution, a solution, that way. You know, you've got to come from your soul, where your romantic relationships are coming from. You need to be the observer, so you can be your psychic clues and what's the word? Clues and, oh, I don't know, it's gone. But they're saying that you need to be reading your situations more psychically, because you've got the domestic dog here, and then you've got the wild dog here, and we all have the domestic side of us and the wild side of us, because if you don't have the wild side of you, then you're not going to be prompted to go on adventures, and you know, and this is about survival. You know, the domestic dog is very well looked after, but the wild dog is out there surviving. But it's about balance, hence the road in between them. It's about the middle ground. And then the you know, it's water. Pisces is water, and then you've got your water here, and I think this is a scorpion coming out of here. You know, the scorpion, also water, is very deep. It goes right down into the murky waters, and you know, it's not shallow on top. It's like the unconscious. You go right down, and hence why these moon cycles are really important. And you know, I've been doing the moon cycles since 1990, I think I started them. And they never fail. You know, it's a cycle, it unfolds, and each one goes to another one. And these eclipses, because it's this year's 11, so a lot of you might be seeing 11 or 11s and have done for the last sort of decade. I certainly have, and I think people, because if you've watched my videos for a long time, people were getting romanticized with the 11, and I think building it all out of proportion. You know, it's the romantic bubble that needs to be burst. Because I did a video on it. I think it's still up there. Well, all of mine is still up there. But mine was to do with my daughter. You know, we're true soulmates, and we're here learning similar lessons, etc. And that. So it doesn't always have to be romantic. But so yeah. So you want to be able to marry the two. Bringing your domestic and your wild child, because otherwise you get too boring and too bogged down. You know, that's why Saturn is saying you've got to take responsibility and discipline. And the wounded healer, your wounds are maybe going to be coming up, because the moon is about deception, or can come under illusions, but it's also very intuitive. It can be people trying to pull the wool over your eyes, and yet you know you've seen the red flags, but you've swatted them away like a fly. And the red flags doesn't need to have to be a negative. It's a warning. It's, hang on a minute, there's an issue here that needs to be dealt with, that needs to be looked at, because if you don't, you're going to be suppressing it. That's just going to cause more pain and heartbreak, and then you're going to get the steam, and then it's going to bubble, and then it's going to come out, and it can come out and it can hurt. So that's all it's saying is there's a warning, something's flashing. You know, your red flags, like in the sea, you swim in between, you don't go outside of those red flags. So but it's about having compassion with yourself and compassion with other people, and that's in all your relationships. You've got Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So what's it saying here? Neptune again can be illusions, you see, because it governs dreams and things like that. I don't know what planets are going to be going retrograde apart from Mercury. I think there might be Jupiter and Scorpio, so that would be an interesting one. But again, it would feel, even though I don't know much about it, energetically, I'd say Jupiter's all about, or supposedly about, rewards and gifts. And Scorpio is about that deep down subconscious stuff and working on it. I mean, we see it in the media all the time about the abuse and everything that's all come up and out and into the open. You know, so those things are coming up to the consciousness of the collective, and this will be for you personally around this new moon. But like I said, you need to be having compassion with yourself. Now, maybe the Hangman is saying you might need to be making some form of sacrifice, because he literally is on a cross, but he is upside down and he's quite jovial about it. It's like, you know, it looks as though he's waiting for the light bulb moment, but he's quite happy to be there. So as I was saying earlier, maybe, you know, for some of you, you'd need to take a step back and not invest too much, you know, especially the feminine energy in the relationship, whether that's same-sex couples, it doesn't matter. It's whoever is more feminine in the relationship. Maybe, you know, step back a bit and only give 75%. Bring that observer energy in and only give 75%, especially in new relationships. You're exploring, that's all you're doing. They're like mirrors for yourself, maybe where you are or where you have been. So therefore you would understand if somebody was going through that. You'd have compassion because you've been there yourself. But this is all about basically taking, you know, sacrificing something of lesser value for something of far greater value. And sometimes that is about letting go of a relationship, especially people that try and pull the wool over your eyes, and intuitively you know that, and maybe turning a blind eye to it. But this is all about a time out and relinquishing. You know, that's where I'm saying sacrifice of something, because there's something far greater for you around this new moon and new beginnings, and Neptune is the ruler with that. So let's have a look and see. Thank you for all of my loyal subscribers, the lovely comments you put, and I know I haven't been on here for a while, but the email and that emails you send, I really do appreciate it. Let's take a look. What are the tarot cards? I use these because very much the moon, the new moon and the full moon, and they just work well with me. I mean, I know. Oh well, we've got the Five of Wands coming up. Now this is, you know, the wands are about like fire energy, so passion, and it's a bit like the goddess Kali, and she's a creator or a destroyer. And basically that's the power we have in our relationship, the choices we have. We have a choice to react from our wounds, which Chiron's going to be in the mix with this Pisces new moon. We have a choice to react, or we have a choice to respond, and maybe taking a time out and a step back and not react. Take a deep breath. Even if you feel something, don't swat it away like a fly. Just think, okay, I need some time out. I need to take a step back. I need to explore these feelings, what it's telling me. And then, because anger is a good thing. That Mars energy, anger is a good thing. It lets you know someone's either taking advantage of your kindness or your healthy boundaries you're trying to set, if you're trying to set them. They've stepped over a mark, and you know it's made you feel angry. But that emotion, because moon is all about the emotions, it's a feeling that's in motion, and so you know you need to explore what your feelings. They're like a sat nav. They're trying to tell you something. And I just think, because Mercury is the mind, he's the messenger. He's the messenger on behalf of the other planets. He's the messenger in his own right. It's about communication, hence why, you know, you get your computers or phones or whatever, delays in things, travel, etc. But there's always a reason for that, but yes, so this could be the energies that are coming in for some of you, or you're already in it and experiencing it. But this is like competition. This can be pettiness and a rivalry, or competing with others. Fives can be restrictive. They want to break out. So hence why that energy is there. But I automatically, intuitively, because I love watching films, I always get messages from films and see things symbolically. But you know, on this picture, some of them have got helmets, and these above here, they haven't. Some have got armour on, others haven't. And maybe that's saying in some situations you need to have your full armour on with some people. You know, people need to earn your trust, and you are the people. So for some, maybe it's that. Maybe for some, you need to put that armor on, and it's about discerning that. And others, you don't need it, but you might be coming from your old wounds and putting your armor on when you don't really need to. But this is all about conquering, you know, the shadow, the wounded, the wounded parts of us, and that is coming into play here with this Pisces having compassion. And, you know, and in Avatar, the talk was known as the father and the ruler of these other ones, and he always flew above. And Jake, you know, with his wisdom, knew that to conquer him, he'd have to fly above him, because he never thinks that somebody would go above him. And then he does, you know, he goes above him, and he gets on him, and he has to surrender. They mix their energies, but that shows you know, you'd heal your wounds. So yeah, look out for any arguments and competitiveness around this new moon, or from this Virgo full moon today, because this, you know, if you read it as you see it, what's that game show? Well, here in the UK anyway, it's they show you pictures, and then you just catchphrase, you just see it as you see it, say it as you see it. So, you know, you've got blue skies, so that's good, because clouds are all the mental energy, your thoughts, and these thoughts seem to be all in one area. So maybe look at what area are you maybe thinking negatively to do with the situation at this time. You know, this, at the end of the day, this is, because this is about communication. The swords are about communication, the mind. It's the Mercury energy. And this is about the sword of truth. So it's all about perception. And the hangman, which Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, is all about gaining a new perception. And sometimes you do have to hang upside down, literally, to be able to stand up and have the light bulb moment and gain that insight that you need. Hence why standing back a bit from the situation. Then you feel your feelings, then you get the clarity. Then you're honoured and given the gift of clarity. And the swords are about clarity. But he seems in a defence position. Now this can be a child because it's a page, or it can be an adult, but the wounds of their inner child. And would come under, or may come under, you know, the air signs, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. So, but what's interesting on here, on his, around his neck, it looks like, I don't know what bird it is, but, you know, like an eagle. It's something that flies high in the air, that can have a more bird's eye view of the situation. So there seems to be a theme of looking back. But maybe an argument or competition of some kind puts this person, or even a child, in this position where they feel they have to defend themselves. And it's about finding, remember, a solution to the situation, whichever that is for you. We've got pages again, so maybe the theme is, because Chiron, wounded healer, maybe the inner child is going to be coming up. Or, you know, for people that are not in relationships, that are single but do have children, their children, if we don't work on the legacies that we've been given, we will see it via our children. So you can't escape it, because what you're seeing in them is what you need to be working in yourself. So it could be, but this is enthusiasm, and you go back to the fire again. So this is all about enthusiasm. So maybe when somebody does say what they need to say, you know, this is all about either coming back from a journey, or it's feeling enthusiastic, maybe where they wasn't, and that could be a child, and that would be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So but you know, he's got the sun round his neck, he's got the bird from there, but it is about taking it up to a bird's eye perspective. And you know, the cat there is about independence. Cats are about independence, so it's something around independence. Could be around, because pages are messengers, they are messengers. So news of some kind around this new moon, or it could be representing your children. Now we've got the King of Pentacles, so he's very much the, you know, the earth sign, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, which this full moon today I'm doing it. Wouldn't be surprised if he showed up. So it could be that this situation is to do with this King of Pentacles, you know, that sort of energy. But you know, he's somebody, this is all about money. It's about the earthly plane, because you need to work on all four of them to get your balance. So he's showing up. He's somebody who's king of his castle. He's usually somebody that's already made his money. He's a king. He's not the knight, he's the king. He's made his money, and that can be any age, through hard work and dedication, which would be your Saturn energy, especially if it comes into Capricorn. And you know, he doesn't want for anything. But what's interesting here that I'm just focusing on is he hasn't got 2 feet on the ground here. It looks like he's got his heel up on this one, and I've never noticed that before. And you can actually see a shadow there. So even he will have his shadow, even if he comes across confident. And now this can be masculine or female, because it's a general read, and because of same-sex couples, etc., whoever takes that energy. So yeah, but he would be somebody that's very practical, down-to-earth practical. So you're getting your craftsmen here. You're getting people that work with earth. So you could get your farmers, you could get your you know, labourers, builders, people that work with their hands, craftsmen. So there seems to be, either for him, some sort of inner struggle, because that can be inner conflict, inner struggle. Is it to do with children? I'm getting a sense of a Capricorn, but I don't know. Only because Saturn is in Capricorn, maybe the Capricornian energy. And sometimes the masculine are quite hard to get to know. They're very loyal, down to earth and trusting. But some, unless, it depends what other they've got in their chart. You know, they could have a lot of water, so then they'd be more open, and but I've yet to meet one. So sometimes the longer you're with them, the less you know about them. But there's some sort of either competition for him in his workplace, or has been, or coming in, will be. But we've got the Ace of Cups in the centre, which I call the heart of the matter. This is what's going on at a heart level, and this is about new love, new beginning. But it's that energy. It's just the energy of it. There's not a physical sense. So maybe this is more for people that are single, or people that have gone through a hard time. There's a revival. We'll see what the romance angels want to say. But you know, you've got lilies on top of these. But it's like your cup runneth over. It's just like pouring out. It's the energy. So there's excitement. Your heart chakra's open. But you've got nothing grounded to put it next to. Like there's nobody there, or you could sort of say, oh, that's because of that, which is a good place to be. It's new feeling. And it can show up very much when a pregnancy, especially with the Empress. But yeah, new feeling. So we'll put some more cards out on that, and it's around independence. It's around independence. So that could even be excitement and feeling good about independence and financially supporting yourself. You know, things in the garden looking rosy. Maybe that is for single people. I was picking up on single people that with children, and this is in the future. There's a message of some kind, something very enthusiastic. So either a child is bringing you a message coming back from a visit from somewhere, or maybe somebody you haven't seen, but it's around independence and or this can be ventures, this can be, but it's very much on around money and independence. But she's on her own, so it could be the feminine, but that's what's at the heart of the matter between these two people. And there you go, we've got the Mars energy, which I was speaking about, that Aries earlier. But this can be that you've already gone through this, that it's the past, or it could be the energies that are coming in, and then it's going to be leading to this, and then this is how you can navigate and respond to it instead of reacting to it. I got on my website about the difference between personality and character. You know, you're looking for a good character, somebody who's a good character, and basically, in a few words, that's somebody who keeps their word. What they say, they do in action. They're in alignment. But there's something, either a sudden shock or something being torn down for this guy. Because remember, you've got the 5 of Wands there. So that can be to do with, there's something, a surprise, something out of the blue. Something out of the blue for this guy that brings him down, or has brought him down. You know, something maybe that was kept in and you know, needs to explode. Around this Queen of Cups, she's coming to play. Now she's somebody that's very much under the Cancerian energy, which the moon is as well, around the Cancerian energy, and she's very warm and loving. She's the queen. She's mature with her feelings, and she expresses them, and very loving and supportive. Great counsellor, is there for her friends. Can be somebody who tends to put on weight because they take on other people's feelings as well until they learn not to. But yes, so she's in the mix, but she's upright, and that can be a sudden move of some kind. That can even be because it's a shock of some kind, something that's unexpected for this Queen of Cups, but also for this King of Pentacles. And it's to do with independence, and we've got the High Priest, which is about that can represent marriage, you see, because we've got the keys, we've got the sun and the moon, the yin and the yang. We've had those 2 eclipses, very much, very powerful, but in a very positive way, which, you know, is about, there are 2 major arcanas between, that could be a divorce, or a sudden move of some kind, because he is about getting advice, getting knowledge. He's about knowledge, education. So there's something that she needs to be learning, getting advice about, gaining knowledge, education, to do with this around independence and this new way of feeling about a situation. But what's going on in the subconscious? Yeah, we got the moon come up. This is in the unconscious, and whatever I was saying about that and the unconscious and the Scorpio and the Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio, I think that's what's going to be happening. But because this is upright, so when it's upright, it is about intuition, but it's also because she has 3 wolves, she has 3 keys. It's like you've got the 3 again there. Excuse me. You've got the 1, 2, 3 animals, and then but you've also got 1, 2, 3, so that could represent 3 paths, because you've got Hecate here, and we were talking about the goddess Kali, which is a creator or destroyer. So she usually shows up when you're at a crossroads, but it's not a complete crossroads, I'm hearing, because it's 3 paths. But then you can go back to that and say it's not the left or the right, it's the middle. It's not 4 paths, it's not a crossroads, it's 3 paths, and it's finding middle ground. And don't allow anybody to try and pull the wool over your eyes and people please, and just say it as it is, because that's about secrets. That could be something to do with him, because he does have that all the way down there. But let's get some of these cards out. How are we doing for time? I'll go so quickly. We've got snow here. We've had -4. That's probably not much to some people, but for here in the UK it is. And it started yesterday, and it's just keeps snowing, which is not like for end of February, March, really. But I suppose it feels like England, the UK, is starting to come back into balance again. Because we always used to have snow during the winter, especially when I was kids. I can remember it. So something's coming back into balance, but it's doing it naturally. I know we hear all these fear things about the planet and everything, but Mother Nature, you can't mess with Mother Nature, and you'll never win over Mother Nature. Mother Nature will do whatever she needs to do to rebalance herself, let alone, we don't have power over Mother Nature. So she will. And I was told many years ago, when I used to go to an outdoor pool in the mornings, and it was freezing, that England will be the new Spain, that we will have the sunshine and the summer weather we used to have. So probably hence why people are buying here on an intuitive level. But anyway, don't get me on my soapbox about all of that, the political side, because, Anyway, let's focus. That Mars energy, that anger energy, woo, just comes out. But this is to do with the relationship. Excuse me. A relationship. Now, it's not stating what kind of relationship, so who's ever watching this, it could be a father. There's arguments, competing, something to do with something in some area of your life, but it is to do with the relationship. This conflict of some kind, definitely to do with the relationship. Let's see what's at the heart of the matter. For some it could be a child, you see. For some it could be his child. Heart of the matter is definitely the feminine. So this new beginning, she's wanting a new beginning. She's wanting, she's the one feeling excitement, the heart chakra's opening, and starting to have good feelings about herself. So maybe she hasn't in the past, to do with this situation. Maybe she's the one that was analysing too much, but now she's connecting more with her emotions and wanting a fresh start, a new beginning where love's concerned, and feeling those wonderful feelings like the honeymoon period when you meet somebody. So that's definitely the feminine there, having those wonderful feelings starting to bubble. You know, it's starting to bubble. I must admit, I do feel like that. I never know why, and then it's amazing what shows itself. I think I did say in one of the lunar eclipse, I think, or something, and no coincidence, it was on my birthday, which was the 17th of Jan, and then I went out with my daughter to these lovely lakes and everything, and you know, and something happened that day to do with love that was no coincidence, and it was a new moon in Capricorn, and this other person was a Capricorn, and it was just like, oh my goodness, the synchronicity of it was amazing. So, but we do have the sun. This is great. We do have the sun here, so this is something that is blessed and is strong, a strong bond. Sunny outlooks brings joy. The sun is very much about joy, warmth, happiness. To do with this Page of Swords, but again, it's about seeing the situation from a higher perspective, or for some it's going to be that, you know, things are going to get better, whether that's between a father and a son, that things are going to get better. There's a strong bond there, even if there's a bit of conflict going on. And this is around a friendship. So, you know, enthusiastic, happy, joyful message. It's a page from a friend. It may be in the near future is going to be showing up, because that's about companionship. So that could be, because it's no heart there, it could be around a friendship, and we've got the letter, which is about communication. So to do with this King of Pentacles, communication around, and that could be in any shape or form, or it could be a contract. That can be a contract, but it's to do with this relationship. And there's some form of invitation from this person. Like I said, there's an enthusiastic message, an invitation, an event to go to, being invited to. It's something to do with your independence, definitely to do with the feminine's independence. But well, that could be a bombshell. That could be a bombshell around a child. I said something about a child, or around a pregnancy, not expected. That could be, because it's a woman with a child, and it's a man concerning a child, because they go both ways. But that would be a shock. That would be a shock, and there's some news to do with that for some of you. Oh, we've got the love here, we've got the heart here, and it is on the Queen of Cups. So she is the one, like I said, she's the one having these feelings. She's the one in love. She's the one in love. And it could be, might not be a child, but it could be for some. That's a new beginning. That a baby, a toddler, is something in its early stages. So that could be a love in its early stages, or that could be a love for a baby and wanting a baby. You know, my sadness if that is anybody who has lost a baby in the past, maybe. For some of you, it might have already happened because that's representing the past. But yeah, that's a love in its early stages. But there's something that's nibbling away, because this is a bit of a dark card, but there's negotiations that needs to be set. Some negotiations around this situation, or will be in the future, because he's about advice, knowledge. So whether that's to do with the independence and somebody wanting to break out, and they need knowledge to do this, and then somebody might be against that, and then, you know, try and put a dampers on it. How are we doing? Oh, we've got the clover. So that's what I'm saying. Being the mystic, you know, even if you know someone's pulling the wool over your eyes, you don't always have to share that. Like I said, you don't always have to share that. It's about your own knowingness and your own, and trusting in your intuition. You know, trusting yourself and trusting your intuition. Because it is very intuitive, this card, so that you know which path to go down, and you're not going to be misled or go down a path that you're not happy. But it's saying that, you know, because this can be self-deception, but I usually see that like that, in reverse, self-deception, and not seeing something that you know that you should be seeing. But it's saying that, you know, this is a very lucky card. The clover is about your path is like being protected. It's like there's good luck, and you will be guided right down the right path, as long as you trust your intuition. And maybe that Jupiter retrograde, which is about gifts and that, plays a part in that. But I do find that Saturn usually brings the gifts. Well, it certainly did where my home was concerned. But anyway, let's have a look. Let's have some clarity around the heart of the matter then. So this could be Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer. I said Cancer, didn't I, earlier? Let's have a look. What's the heart of the matter? Right, well, she's been through some sort of turmoil on a mental level. This comes up very much around depression, and anxiety. You know, it's very much the mental state, but which is around fate and destiny. So maybe anguish about what path do I take, because one in a new fresh beginning in love, and for some of you maybe it comes under a baby, and that's been keeping you up at night, not knowing what to do. But the Wheel of Fortune is upright. So that could be a pattern, because fate, that it would be fate if it was reversed. It's about destiny. It's about opportunities knocking. You know, yeah, opportunity is knocking. The opportunity that knocking is the Two of Rods, which is about partnership, but that's more on a career level, a creative level. But your partnership is with the universe, or whatever you want to call it. So that's the true partnership, is with the divine. But you know, he's holding out his hand, his right hand, which is about giving to the world. And remember, the Virgo is about being a service, finding a way of giving to the world, and maybe that's the opportunity destiny is knocking. That brings excitement and good feelings for the feminine. Let's just have a look quickly on him. Oh, that one wanted to come out. Well, that's the sword of truth. That's the ace of, this is about clarity. So that's about him finding clarity. That's about him finding clarity. He's going to be clear because he's communicating. And there we go. We've got the Hierophant come up, which is here. There's some form of negotiations. And like I said, it could be around marriage for some of you, or long-term relationships. But yeah, there's clarity around that, and around somebody that's had the blindfold on. Remember I saying about pulling the wool over your eyes? But this is self-imprisonment. So whether that's him, that's self-imposed. You know, that's your thoughts. It's the thoughts that gets you into that position, or certainly got him into that position. Right, what's the time? Oh no, we need to carry on. Right, I just want to have a look, see what the romance angels want to say. We've got a few minutes. Most important messages from the romance angels. Codependency. So they're saying you need to be looking at your codependency around this time. That Chiron, the wounds, the healings. And there may be some form of addictions, and that can be habits. Habits are habits until they become an addiction. So it's a great time to be looking at it, and they are affecting your romantic life. And addictions can come up in any shape or form. You know, it's not just your drugs, your alcohol, cigarettes, and which cigarettes is a smoke screen to what you don't want to see. Because addictions shift from one thing to another, you know, but there is some form of codependency that needs to be looked at around this time. If you want to pause your video and ask your question, they will the best way they can answer you. And listen to your intuition. So that is the theme. Because that's definitely, that brings you the golden path, the lucky path. Your intuition is right. Some of you aren't trusting it around this situation. Let's see what this card wants to say. Oh, that was just left on there, which is around forgiveness. So compassion. Pisces, compassion, like I said, forgiving someone else, so that you can move forward. So most important message, please. Chop wood and carry water is the saying. So, you know, for some of you, everything's fine, as in, not fine, but for some of you, you don't need to, like, put the bigger picture to one side, if it's to do with your work, your creative projects, because about this and independence and education. So it's saying put that to one side and just pay attention to paying the bills. Hecate is all about, in the modern Hecate, is about learning to be able to pay your bills and live in, you know, everyday living, and put the bigger picture of what you want to do to one side. In your relationship, it's like, I suppose, working on the codependency. Maybe that's just about feeling relaxed and just, I don't know, doing the washing up, holding hands, that sort of thing, and not right. I just want to see what the universe has your back. This is new cards. Everything else is on by Gabriella Bernstein, but this is more of an affirmation. So I've only got literally, is that 9? Because it will just cut off. Seconds to go. Right. When I lean on certainty and faith, I change my mind about the world I see. And that's very much about that, and different perspective. Let me just stand up a minute. Oh yeah, it is 59. So what it's saying is that's your third eye, you know, having a different perspective, that hangman and compassion. So that's your affirmation around this time. There we go. I'm going to have to go. I did it longer than I should have. Okay. Please like, share and subscribe. It's your gift back to me. And I'll see you back here with the full moon. And please reach out my website for the readings if you need support. Namaste. Love you lot.